Thank you very much. Welcome back to the second two of our 4 panels. This panel, as Indonesia said, is similar to the first panel in the sense of being more about macro issues in the ELTT and research that focused on, in the title of this panel, Studying English, Teacher Agency and Confidence, and the idea of confidence that I spoke about in the opening. Then the last panel of the day, the 4th panel, actually will be similar to the second panel in the sense that it goes more inside the courses and looks at what teachers took from those courses. And then, as our Mistress of Ceremonies said, we'll follow up with information for those who are interested. So this panel, as I said, is on the topic of English teacher agency and teacher confidence. And so it will run slightly different than the 2 before lunch. It will be more in a conference style. Each of the 3 gentlemen will present their work and findings briefly, and we'll take a short Q&A after each one, and then we'll do a cross-cutting Q&A at the end. So with that, to our first presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace, mercy, and blessing of God be with you, and a very, very good afternoon. Okay. I am Abdul Syahid from Institut Agama Islam Negeri Palangkaraya, and I am honored to be here with you among great teachers such as Professor Donald Freeman, Louis, the one and only, our Grandmaster Trainer, and the magnificent 11 Master Trainers. Give a round of applause to them. Wow. Yes. Okay. I would like to show you that English language teacher program could help Indonesian English language teachers become great teachers who will never be replaced with ChatGPT or other artificial intelligence platforms. How? Okay, just to remind you about the program. And ELTT, this is the online platform for English language teacher training. Okay, the focus of my presentation is that after the training, Indonesian English language teachers said, now I can teach English in English. That's why the focus is that self-confidence, teacher self-confidence in teaching English in English, and then the second one, how institutional or school support could help it. Okay. Please read the tagline of ELTT, teach English with confidence. That's the focus. Ladies and gentlemen, the participants of my research is 13 teachers receiving high school support and 13 teachers receiving low school support. Is it enough? Yes, based on my power analysis and sample size calculation, 26 is adequate for my research design. I asked 26 teachers in my peer learning hub to fill out survey related to confidence in teaching English in English, and then the second one about their understanding about methods, essential methods of English language teaching. Was my survey reliable? Yes, I'll show you next time. How about, and then I also conducted interviews with 3 teachers from diverse background, certified or uncertified, public servant or private teachers, and anymore, to ensure that the participants in my research could be representative. So I also conducted interview with 3 principals. Was my interview reliable? Yes, I think. Yes. Was my interview valid? Measure what it should be measured? Yes. I translated my interview from Gasi about institutional support. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing that I would like to highlight is the data. For my survey data, I submitted the data to Jasper, amazing statistical software, free open source software, not SPSS. I conducted a 2-way mix ANOVA. Let's pass the complexity. Based on the analysis of 2-way mix ANOVA, I found that teachers had higher confidence after the training. And then teachers with high and low school support showed higher confidence after the training. What about the interview? Based on the main mapping-based qualitative data analysis, I could find some highlights. For example, the training includes relevant materials for day-to-day teaching. And then the second one is the delivery. While online sometimes is associated with solitary, and then the offline sometimes associated with unflexibility. That's why the best one is blended learning. And then we should not forget the trainer, yes, the well-recruited trainer and peer support. However, the paramount of the theme in my interview is that the teachers, yes, the teachers is the self as the internal drive, or the so-called intrinsic motivation or internal motivation. That's such kind of motivation drove the teachers to achieve higher confidence after the training. Next. Okay, you could find the data including ethical clearance decision letter from BRIN, Badan Riset dan Inovasi Nasional, on Big Share project page. Okay, the finding is that, let me summarize it. English language teaching could enable English language teachers teach English with confidence, in line with the tagline. Yes? Could you see the tagline from ELTT? Yes. How could? Because English language teacher training, my great teachers in this room, had quality and intensity that is equally effective for teachers of high and low levels of institutional support. So, if you are policymakers, please prioritize funding and support for ongoing professional development like this. If you are principals, please implement the blended professional development program like this. And then if you are teachers, please actively seek out opportunities for ongoing professional development program. And Professor Didin will go on with how higher education, higher self-confidence is in line with pedagogical competency, right, Pak? Okay, thank you very much. That ends my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. That was excellent. Before we move to Professor Didin, could you just clarify what you mean by high and low support? Because that was very important in your work, and I'm not sure that it was necessarily clear to everyone.
Thank you very much. Very interesting question. Institutional support based on GASI covers planning, implementation, and follow-up. And then based on the instrument by GASI, I develop a survey, and then the numbers or the scores from all of the participants are divided into two. So there were 13 teachers. Yes, 13 teachers. I divided them into two. 13 from high school support, and then the second one is low school support. That is the criterion that I use to divide teachers into low and high school support. Thank you.
Thank you. So by using this scale, or by creating this questionnaire based on characteristics of high and low support, then you've asked principals to complete. You asked principals to complete the survey, and teachers, and then based on that, then you divided your participants. Okay. Thank you. That was very good. Does anyone else have any clarifications before we move to the next? To you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Didin.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege for me to share my research. Well, actually, my research would like to uncover the overall teacher experience undertaking the ELTT program. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Didin. I work at the State Islamic University in Jakarta. So among other master trainers, I live very far from here. Okay. Okay. Well, actually, my research is larger than this one, but on this occasion, I just would like to present three things. The three research focus that I will present today is about their motivations. Abdul also has highlighted the motivation that the teachers joining this ELTT program, and then also I would like to highlight the challenges that the teachers face when they join the ELTT, because perhaps this could be the first training that they join after the pandemic, yeah, which is in the online and the blended mode. So we would like to see whether there are some challenges, and then if they can offer some solutions to this one. And then more importantly is after the training, what are the uptakes? What things that they can bring into the classroom? I think that is the one that we would like to see. It's not they just learn from the training and then they just keep it for themselves, but of course it is for the benefit of the students and then also the schools. So these are the three research focus that I'll be highlighting today. And to do this, I applied the focus group discussion involving 14 English teachers altogether in Jabodetabek regions as well. So I would like to highlight that this only captures the Jakarta people, yeah, but including Bekasi and then also Bogor and so on. Further research needed to be conducted in the wider regions, including from all my friends who are working in, for example, Sumatra or even Sulawesi. So it only captures the perspective of the Jakarta or Jabodetabek area. And to support this one, I have provided with the FGD protocols consisting of 12 open-ended questions. And all the responses from the participants were coded and then entered into the NVivo for easier analysis. So let's see with the results. The first one is their motivation falls mostly in terms of their intrinsic motivations. Yeah, so there is no pressure from the school for them to join the program. Even a few teachers, when they have started the training, the institutions show lack commitment, and that results in a few teachers need to quit from the program. All of them shows the high level of the intrinsic motivation. Yeah, so this is a very good thing. So meaning that the recruitment of the program runs really well. We've got teachers who show a very well and dedicated commitment to join the program, which is not short. Yeah, it's not only 1 or 2 or 3 days, but it takes a deliberate commitment for up to 5 months to successfully complete the program. Yeah. So their willingness to learn, and then the next thing that is very interesting is on how this training can update teaching and their learning methods. And then also there is some kind of like good attitude in terms of curiosity. So meaning teachers who are curious to know further means that they are the one who demonstrate the lifelong learning. And then of course that this training also will add to their experience. So the motivations come mostly from their intrinsic motivation. And then when we talk about the challenge, there are some challenges, some notable challenges. Among others is because this training is conducted concurrently with their teaching as well at schools, so they would like to apply directly what they learn from the training and then apply it to schools. And they found that one of the hindrances when they apply this to the classroom is the students' English language proficiency of English, which is perhaps relatively low, yeah. But this warrants further research next time. And also one of the obvious is about the large class size, yeah. And then also the limited school facilities, because they learn it mostly in online, but and then when they would like to apply this into their classroom, they have a problem with these facilities. But more importantly also, we need to acknowledge that there are problems and challenges in regards to the time management. Yeah, the time management for teachers, they have worked so much, yeah, including their administrative matters, joining the training and everything. So this requires a very good time management. And then also some technical difficulties, but there wasn't that major. I think we have successfully covered all the problems teachers face with the technical issues. I think that's quite minor. And the needs for perhaps the real native speaker. I don't know whether someday that the master trainer or the coach can be from the native speaker. Perhaps that it will add the value. Maybe they're bored with the West Javanese accent, perhaps like me. So they need more like a native speaker. And then also some difficult materials, because they learn two things, the English for teaching and then also the professional knowledge or the PK. And the way to overcome the problems is they would like to create games in class. Yeah, that is to cover as well the large classes. And then one thing which is very important is on how they can teach the language with situations that relate to the students' lives. Meaning as a teacher, we don't run our own life, but we have to know our students' lives. Yeah, so that is very important for us as teachers. And then also when they have problems, they seek help from their partners, or when they have a problem with the time management, this is what they do, is always to do the overtime work. I think that's what we normally do when we have a lot of work to do. And then introduce something new, create a follow-up phase, and repeat the learning process when the students look to be a bit confused with what they teach, and then provide more comprehensive modules, and then also setting the goals for each meetings. And on the last one, what are the uptakes? Yeah, so they learn the new teaching methods that have been taught, yeah, directly into the classroom. And then one thing which is also very important and it's very specific in the madrasas and pesantren is on the way they can integrate the Islamic values. I think this is what is also crucial to find on one of the biggest questions now is on the advancement of technology. Now our profession as teachers or lecturers, or to some extent, will be replaced by AI or the advancement of technology. So it's not only about transferring the knowledge, but more importantly is on how we can transfer the values through our teaching. I think that's the biggest challenge at the moment. And also this is very good, the materials prepare the teachers to know a lot better about the teacher's talk. Yeah, for example, I think one of my friends highlighted about the questioning. So it's not only the common phrases that the teachers know, they know a lot about the teacher's talk, including, for example, greeting the students and so on. And then also the digital learning, of course, this is the value of this training as well. They can also apply the extensive reading, the authentic learning, and then also on how to instill or inculcate the habit of English speaking to the students. And the last one is about the new vocabulary phrases that they learn and then apply it in the classroom. Last, about the takeaways. So in this case, the Teacher Professional Development Program, in this case, the ELTT, provides significant benefits for English teacher. So it has confirmed that it does not only improve their teaching practice, but also more importantly on expanding their professional network. But it's not only teachers that experience this one, but all of us as well as the master trainers. I only know a few of them before this training, but now I know them a lot better now. So we have expanded our professional network from the western part of Indonesia, yeah, in Aceh, but hopefully someday to Papua. But now it ends at Kendari, yeah, at what is it? Sulawesi, yeah, Kendari. And the two key things are very crucial. I would like to add what Pa Abdul Shahid said. It's about the support, ongoing support. And the next one is about the sustainability. I think we have got this one as well for the commitment and then the ongoing program for the second phase. So hopefully there will be other subsequent phases after this year's training. So the last, how it can develop this is through that Sustainable Teacher Professional Development Program develops the teacher agency, in which description, the capacity of teachers to act purposely to direct their professional growth, find solution to the challenges, and then also improve their practice. I think that's the one that I can share with you all now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Just before we move to our final presentation in this panel, are there any clarifications that people want to ask before we do? Any clarifications before we move? I have one, if you don't mind. Could you say a little bit more about the last idea, how you connect agency to the particular things that happened for the teachers in the program? In other words, what was the evidence of the agency that you found?
I think one of them is in terms of their level of confidence. Yeah, when they teach at school, what I learned from this research, and then the way we deliver the training, is that the teacher agency works concurrently with their level of confidence. Yeah.
Agency and confidence are almost like two sides of a coin.
Yes, they can grow together hand in hand. That's what.
And were there particular aspects of how the program was organized that you think contributed to that?
Yeah, I think the way they act, like on one hand, they are really directed to the training, but it allows as well for them to be more independent learners, while at the same time they also work as a teacher. Yeah, so I think that's how it works.
It's the two roles of being a learner and a teacher at the same time.
So yeah, and also for us as well as a master trainer, also sometimes we have to remember which hat that we are using, whether it's as a trainer or a teacher or even a learner. So that's
how I lost my hair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, useful. Professor. Yeah, thank you.
turn. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Afternoon, everybody. My name is Faisal Zakaria. I'm teaching at UIN Araniri in Banda Aceh. Anyone from Banda Aceh? So from western part of the country. My slides are much simpler than these two professors right here. I mean, I only have 4 slides, not a lot. I'll try to talk. So I'll try to connect to what Professor Didin just said, and also to Abdul Shahid said earlier about confidence, and Professor Didin said something about the professional development in agencies. So that's actually the focus of my research here. Which one? This one? There we go. I don't know. There's a lot of buttons. I don't know which one to push. All right. So it's really the idea is I mean, if you look at the literature, it always says that the literature says that studying how teacher learn it always bring you to how teacher actually claim their identity. You can't separate it. And also, when they have such identity, the professional identity, they always have this what we call agency in there. You know, I am a professional teacher, and as a professional teacher, I do such and such things. This where agencies always intersect there. And this is the focus. And I mentioned, I mean, I wrote that. You know, Pak Didin and Abdul has mentioned something about blended. This is a blended that we would like to focus here as well. But this is the ELTT program offers teachers to participate in a blended professional development where they could work on their own, at their own pace, and which I will talk later, where my teachers had to go to a coffee shop because they don't have internet. And they have to go to a coffee shop. In Aceh, coffee shop has internet, all of them. If you don't have internet access, people don't go to a coffee shop in Aceh. So this is where they go because they couldn't afford it. And the teachers, I mean, I could say about this a little bit more. So, is it going down? Yeah. All right. So a participant who, 20 of them, I plan to only include 5 people, but everybody wants to join. 20 of them is like 4 trainers. And so then but these teachers are either teaching at junior or high schools level within the pesantren around Banda Aceh. And they have, hold on, the teachers were all graduate of English department, English department for education. For they were prepared to be English teachers. So not like our first colleague earlier that said that we don't have, some of them did not have background in English teaching. So the data, so the program actually requires the teacher also to do the reflective. So there could be data, and then some of them make teaching videos. But the focus for my data comes from interviews and FGDs, the 20 of them. And okay, what do I find? Because remember the focus, I want to see how they develop their, how they claim their identities, and how these identities really translate into their agencies. So, I would like to go a little bit here. They are related to what Professor Didin said is about active PD seeker. They're active. They went to coffee shop. They didn't get paid. Nothing. They just go, and then they're lifelong learners. This is what they've been saying. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a confident professional teacher, and so in order for me to be more confident, to continue to be confident, I have to be actively seeking these PD opportunities. And they're altruistic as well. Once you learn, it's not for yourself, but how to help others. How do their other colleagues develop? And this altruism is always there for them. I mean, it's not just for them. And they feel, if you look at this after the program, the agency, I am not only a teacher, this is what they said. I'm not a teacher only. I don't just claim my professional identity in the classroom, but also, it's my responsibility to help my students learn. And it's my responsibility. I have a thought, they have the thought of being responsible for students' life. Remember in the context of pesantren, especially the boarding school one, the students don't actually see their parents on a regular basis, like maybe once a month. So this teacher, or positioning themselves as a second parent, that's just teaching for the kids. And when they said contributing to ELT field, so I remember one of my participants, she ran these YouTube channels where she talked to national education expert and things like that, and talk and publish that. So then, for her, this is a way for me to contribute to ELT. So the agency is like, I'm not just teaching. I could do so much more than teaching. So, what is the takeaway here? Hold on, sorry. So, I said I don't have a lot to say, so I'll try to close with these takeaways. Active PD seeking and lifelong learning contribute to confidence in professional, as professional educator. Yeah, it's very much, what these two professors have said earlier. It's like, if you want, I remember one of my teachers said, I am professional teachers. That's why I have to keep pursuing this professional, this PD. If I do not do this, if I stop seeking PDs, I will not be professional anymore because students are changing, the teaching situations are different, the challenges. Now we have ChatGPT. We didn't have before, something like that. And this is what the literature says. For professional teachers, that you need to always seek this continued PD, right? And the last one is, when they feel that, when they're confident that I am professional, and there they go. I am more confident now. Like one of the teachers said, I am now an English teacher. What about before the program? I was not an English teacher. Because when I taught, I used Bahasa Indonesia. I was not confident to use Indonesian. Now I'm confident. So I get to go out and talk to students and just talk in English. I am an English teacher now. So I think that's all for now. Yeah? Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. It was wonderful. Let's open it for cross-cutting questions, observations. What these three papers have really, or presentations rather, have been emphasizing is this notion that I spoke about it in the morning of what the way certainly I and other researchers who worked within this framework have begun to understand what we mean by confidence. It's not just a kind of a general free-floating statement, but it has these two features of knowing or learning something new or something that you don't feel you know as well. So in the case of this last paper, feeling more that I know more of the English that I would use in the act of teaching. And then the flip side, as we heard in Professor Didin's paper about one of the obstacles being maybe the students don't have enough English to understand me when I use this English. So that's the believing side of this framework of what we mean by teaching confidence. What strikes me and what I heard in the your three papers and what we discussed yesterday is it's a very simple point, but one we tend to forget. Confidence is not kind of a state. It's not a static thing. It's not a way you are. It's a thing you do. It's an activity. And so it really, as you're talking about the way the teachers engaged in the program, was also contributing to the way they engaged in their teaching. So it's an interesting link between the doing of the program and the doing of teaching. Do you have other questions, comments? Yes. Do we have a microphone here for, it's coming. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. There it is.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I would like to ask, these questions will be based on what Pak Didin said, that sometimes talking about the hat, which hat that I have to use as the master of the teachers. So we have learned about your research, right? Your findings from your participants. But I would like to hear actually your own self-reflection as the master's teachers. We haven't heard that since the beginning. So actually that's very important because you are the master teacher, so we should actually maybe listen or yeah, get some information based on your self-reflections after joining this program.
What a great question. So is it fair to say you're asking sort of what have you learned from doing this program? Is that kind of, yeah, what? Yes, yeah. You want to make comments on that?
That's the questions that I didn't really prepare to answer because I was busy asking other people's perspectives. Then there's a question about how I experienced this program. Yeah, I really feel a lot of benefits for this one, and really sometimes have to switch between hats, sometimes as a trainer and then also sometimes as a learner, because as a learner myself I have to learn as well on how to understand the content for myself, and more importantly is on how to make other people understand. So those are the two jobs, but I believe that one is very important to help me learn things. Yeah, I always believe that the best way to teach is the best way to learn is by to teach, because by learning, at least we have to make two efforts on how to make ourselves understand and then on how to make other people understand. I think it's not 2 times, but even 10 times. I think we all agree as educators with this one. So far my experience as a master trainer, really enjoyed this one. So I believe that it's a lifelong learning for me to always continue, and then also always to improve the professionalism of myself as the teacher educators. So this is a great program in which that I think I and also all master trainers are looking forward for the next phase of our assignment into this program. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
There's a famous quote saying, I don't know from whom, but to teach, if you want to teach better, you have to be a lifelong learner. That's why I learn a lot from in this program. And then the most interesting one is that teaching English back to basics. I have to pay something such as brainstorming, energizer, then what else, Pak? Ice breaking to motivate and get students engaged in English. That's what I learned from this program. Yes. Am I a good learner, Louis? Thank you very much.
Okay, I think just similar to what my friends here said, that this program not only allows me to develop professionally, in terms of pedagogical knowledge as well, but I would like to emphasize the ability to collaborate in research. This is I think one of the most important benefit, I think, for me is the fact that we have this research network with 12 great scholars, emerging scholars, I would say. I mean, from all over Indonesia, and we get to hear the finding, though the context of the students that we're working with are probably the same, but then all differences that could really enrich the way, and particularly the way how I see the data. In my case, is that the teachers, many of the teachers and all of the trainers were my students. you know, they're all with me before. And then it's somehow during the data analysis phase, I was like, you know, will this, you know, because I know them very well. And then it could affect the way how I interpret the data. But then when I, you know, we have this monthly meeting with AC and with Martha, this allowed me to see, oh, okay, this, you know, I could see from different angles. And I think that's what I treasure the most as well. You know, other than of course, the pedagogical side, and then I have to start thinking about, because sometimes we're too comfortable about the way we teach. The being comfortable about the way you teach is very dangerous. Because I feel that when you're comfortable, and if somebody said, especially, particularly if somebody, I remember my professor, Dr. Gebhardt, they always said that, you know, if you are comfortable and if somebody come to you and do this judgment, even though this is good one, good is also a judgment. If somebody judges your teaching is good and you will stop doing learning, you close the door, nothing is seen in front of you, this is the best way of teaching reading, that's it. But then this program allows me to see, Lois, I mean, do that. Well, remember when we have to do some silly kind of activities as well? But those are useful, you know, it's really energizing. And for example, you know, so yeah, that's all, I mean, what I see. Yeah.
Thanks. So we're going to move to the last panel, but thank you. Your point about, the last point you made about the research network and the collaborative nature, it's a point we're going to return to in closing, but one of the things that I've realized and I've learned from working with you all and watching this process evolve is your point about how important it is to have a common foundation. You can have a research network of people distributed all around the world, and they spend a lot of time trying to establish what they have in common. And often what they have in common tends to be the methodological way they study things. But you see, here you both have a common basis for where we were looking, a common focus of what we were trying to understand, and a common set of institutional situations in the Madrasah Pesantren and the universities that I think help the work become deep very quickly. In another situation, it could take years to get that level of understanding. So I think we were very fortunate to have that. Well, thank you. Thanks so much. So if I could invite our fourth panelists up, please. Yeah, not at all the least.
Yes.
So the clicker is there. There's a couple of them. One of them isn't. Okay. Okay. This one is where. Okay.
You could share those two.
Is this one okay?
Can I see your number?
That one's good.
Number 2.
3.
I think we're making the life of our wonderful audiovisual colleagues very complicated with all this moving around and shifting of. If you will, of ELTT and particularly of the particulars of some aspects of English for teaching and professional knowledge. And so in the title of this panel, the theme, focusing on classroom instructions and management, I would invite you to understand classroom instructions in two ways. The way you would understand it normally, but recognizing also that it is a particular unit within the English for Teaching course in which teachers encountered the language you use for giving instructions and managing the classroom activity. And so that dual meaning, if you will, the way you understand classroom instructions and then the specifics of classroom instructions within the course are part of what our researchers have really grappled with in understanding. The same goes for the phrase class management, general term, but in the course itself of English for Teaching and also in professional knowledge, there's information about and language about how you manage classrooms. So this last panel is really working across the design of the ELTT course and the teacher learning that occurred within it. So with that, may I turn it to you? What? Oh, yes, would you all introduce yourself first and then we'll begin, yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Oh, good.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dian. I'm teaching at Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, UIN Raden Fatah Palembang, South Sumatra.
Good afternoon, Bapak Ibu. I am Nani Hijriani from UIN Antasari Banjarmasin. It's really nice to see you in this conference.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Siti Nur Faida, but people call me Ida. I'm from EIN Kendari, Southeast Sulawesi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now if you would each tell us your focus within this panel topic.
Okay. Let me tell you about our focus in doing our research. Actually, we did our research individually, and then yesterday we are challenged by Donald and our research team to make our presentations in integration. So I think it is not easy for us to make our presentations in line. So we try our best to make a brief presentations only in 8 slides for the 3 of us. So I did my research in Palembang, South Sumatra, and then Bu Nani in South Kalimantan, and then Mbak Ida in Southeast Sulawesi. So we come from 3 islands across Indonesia. Yeah. So that is we are focusing on classroom instruction and classroom management.
Okay, so would you all tell us about your participants and data?
Okay, let me go first. The slide, please. Okay, yes? Okay, in my case, in my research, I did my research in Palembang. So I have 20 teachers in Palembang in 4 learning hub with 4 trainers. In my research, I have 7 teachers, and then they are teaching at different level of schools. One of them teaching in elementary, and then one of them in senior high schools, and the rest in junior high schools. And then they have different teaching experience. And then the one that I really respect, she has 36 years of teaching experience. So the most senior teacher in our learning hub. Okay, that is the participant of my research.
Okay, while my participants is 19 madrasah and pesantren teachers from South Kalimantan. They are from different city and regency, from Banjarbaru, Banjarmasin, Kabupaten Banjar Martapura, and then Pelaihari, Amuntai, and also Kapuas. And one of my participant is from 200 kilometers from Banjarmasin. It's quite far. From the participant, there are 14 female and 5 male teachers. 14 of them are from English educational background. However, 4 of them are from non-educational background. So actually they have very diverse background and teaching experience.
All right. The participants in my research from Southeast Sulawesi, it's all the participants from inner city in Kendari, unlike Ibu Nani's participants from far away. So I categorized the participants out of the 25 teachers. So I only focusing on 2 pre-service teachers, and then 2 novice teachers, and then 2 experienced teachers. And the focus of my study is about the how the teachers use the instruction checking questions after being exposed to this ELTT program with English for Teaching module.
Great. Would you all continue with your findings for your studies?
As you go to your findings, perhaps you could also remind us of the connection to your focus. Okay? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Donald, for reminding us. Okay. We begin our study with the importance of classroom management to create positive learning environment. And then positive learning environment can positively affect students' behavior in the classroom and also learning performance of the students. That's why Ibu Nani will describe about the instruction, because in order to establish routine in the classroom, teacher needs to give clear instruction for the students. And then to check whether the student understand the teacher instruction, teacher need to ask checking question. And then checking question will be explained by Mbak Ida. Yeah, so one of the strategy that the teacher can apply, because we know that managing classroom in English is quite challenging for the teacher. So one of the strategy that the teacher can apply is translanguaging strategy, and Mbak Ida will explain about that. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Actually, I have 3 research questions in my research, but I tried to focus on these findings. I'm trying to see the impact of teacher participations in ELTT program on their classroom routines in managing their classroom. So based on, I use multiple data sources in collecting the data. So I found that the majority of the teacher mentioned that they get more ideas and practices to manage their classroom in English, because in the program they have various phrases and classroom languages that they can use in managing their classroom. And then they also mentioned that they have better relationship with their students, because at the beginning of the class, they did some various activities. For example, asking a question, something personal with the students, so it can create a better relationship with the students. And then since they practice more games in the classroom, so the learning atmospheres become more alive and more fun in learning. Because in the class, more laugh, and then so the students said that they are happy to do the activities. And then also the teacher mentioned that before it is quite, teaching is tiring, because they have to do the activities. We have to deal with so many students, because Pak didn't said before that they have to deal with large classes, so it is quite tiring for the teachers. But when they implement the activities, they said that, oh, teaching is not tiring anymore. nggak capek lagi ngajar bahasa Inggris sekarang. That's the quote from the teacher. Yeah. So I hope another findings, but in implementing what they got from the program, they still face some challenges. So I try to put this the challenges here. In order to practice the activities, it can be distracting for the other classes. So a lot of noise. Yeah, but noise is something positive, I think. It is one of the indicators that the students are active in learning. But in their context, if the class is so noisy, so it can be learning distraction for the other classes. Because yeah, from the video, I got that I can see the situations of their classroom. So they do not have enough space to do the activities. So one of the teacher told that they need to do the activities outdoor in order not to distract other classes. And then they also have challenges in managing the time, because this is based on the teacher's perspective. In doing various activities, make them quite hard to manage the materials. So they lack of time to cover all of the materials, because it takes time to do the activities. And then, as I said before, lack of space for implementing various activities. If they want to do the activities make the students to move, and then make some body movement. So it is not easy for them to do that in the classroom, because they have to move the table, to move the chair. So, and then they need to go to do it outside. But unfortunately, not all of the school have enough space outside of the classroom to do the activities. So that is the initial findings of my study. Okay.
Okay, as Ibu Dian said that the classroom routine actually cannot be separated from classroom instruction. That's why my research focus on the practices, how the ELTT programs influence the teacher's way in giving instruction. In this research, I use a case study with 3 kinds of instrument: interview, questionnaire, and also observation. And I highlight 3 stages that the teacher, ELTT teachers use during giving the instruction, and focus on the practices. So there are preparation stage, delivery stage, and also post-delivery stage. When we come to preparation stage, it is obvious that the teacher prepare instruction before delivering the instruction, because it is easy for them to make sure that they give organized instruction, and also it will be clear for the student, easy to understand their instruction. And the second one, the teacher arrange the classroom and students group before giving instructions, so it will help the teacher to create positive environment. For example, they arrange the classroom, so they give the student to do discussion, group work, and collaboration. And the next thing is teacher gets student attention, so they are ready to get the instruction for in the class. And also, teacher communicate lesson goals and explain the purpose of the task. Yeah, because it is important that the student understand what they are learning and what they are expected to achieve. And then when we come to delivery stage, there are several ways that the teacher can do, like they hand out material at appropriate time. So, okay, and then also they give the direction in English, so the student have a chance to use English and follow and understand the instruction in English. And then the next stage, it is not only the stage, this is the way that the teacher can the student can easy to understand when the teacher use simple language, comment, use appropriate voice and tone, and speak clearly. And sometimes the teacher also break down more complex instruction, use 1 to simple sentences into shorter steps. And then they can also do some repetition and direction to the student, so it will be easy for the student to follow the instruction and to avoid misunderstanding. And the next is teacher can model the activity. So the teacher demonstrate and then the student can imitate what the teacher do. And the next thing is the teacher use extra linguistic devices and use instruction checking question that will be explored more by Bu Ida and give student time limit and check for understanding. And for post-delivery stage, it is found that the teacher monitors student and available if the student need further help with instruction after activity has started. And by doing these stages, the teacher become more confident and ready for the classroom teaching learning activities. Okay, that's my finding.
All right. Well, Ibu Dian's research has talked about classroom management and classroom routine, and Ibu Nani's research talked about the practices, stages in giving instructions in the classroom. So basically, our research is classroom-based research. So it is each of us did a small-scale research. And then before proceeding into my finding of research, I'd like to check something. So I'm just making sure that almost all of us are teachers, right? Yeah, I see some notes. And when you check in the classroom, when you check your students' understanding, what kind of questions do you ask? What are the questions do you ask to your students? Can I hear an answer, 1 or 2? What are the questions? Sorry? Do you get it? Okay, one more. Rick? Sorry? Are you listening? Yeah? Yeah, are you listening? Okay. Yeah, so my research only focus on this thing, how the teachers gave the instruction to check the students' understanding. And it is one part of the first module, the English for Teaching module in English for Teaching in this ELTT program in National Geographic platform. So in order to teach with confidence, the teachers use this module, and then we'd like to see the impact, how the classroom management drive by the classroom instruction, and then the effectiveness of the such kind of instructions that the teachers have learned from the module. So my research, I used 3 kinds of instruments. The first is a mini survey. The survey, I administered the survey before the program and after the program. The second is reflective teaching journals. So I asked for 3 times reflective teaching journals from each participants. And then the last is I did the focus group discussion with the participants. So the result of the research is, as you can see, the most used instruction checking questions. So ICQ stands for instruction checking questions. Before the program, the most instruction the teachers used, are there any questions? Do you have a question? That's so common. But after the program, the most used revealed that is everything clear? Are there any questions? Again, and let me give you an example. The things that probably before they rarely use, and I'll repeat the instructions. And the least used ICQs, yeah, before the program, let's review the instruction, that's the least one. And then after the program, let me explain the table. The one that, when I saw the result of the survey, let me explain the table, only one participant used this instruction checking question. But after the program, this instruction, let me explain the table, used by, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 teachers. So this is contextual based on in these classes in Kendari. But so I think we need further research for the to see how the trend go to with the other parts of Indonesia. So dealing with instruction checking questions, the teachers acknowledge that they did a lot translanguaging strategies. So I remember the morning panel, the question and answer morning panel, one audience mentioned about the translanguaging pedagogy. So here's the answer. The participants did use translanguaging strategy because this model comes with variety of instructions, whether in feedback, as Bu Rahma delivered, and I think every part of English for teaching, including in instruction checking question. Well, when teachers use the new expressions for the first time, they see mixed responses from the students. Some students understood, and some students didn't understand. So when the teachers, the participants use the English expression, and then they use the wait time to see the students' responses. When the students just kept silent, and then they use Bahasa Indonesia. And then after they see the positive responses from the students, and then they switch to English. They said that they use that way to make it into habit, to plant to the students' mind that this is the expressions that the teachers use when giving instruction in the classroom to run the classroom activity. So besides using the verbal translanguaging strategy, the participants also use the non-verbal translanguaging strategy. So they use the gesture. So, but the participants revealed that after 2 or 3 times use of the new expressions, and then the students understand. And like the 5th time or the 6th time, the teachers use only English. So this is behind, this is the reason behind this model, this is the reason behind this program, but that the teachers can teach English with confidence, and then the students also can speak and can hear, can listen to the instructions confidently. So, but the funny thing is, I think it's it happens to most of us when we use new expressions, new languages, or new things, we tend to forget to use the new ones. So it means we need time to develop such routine. We need time to develop such habit, especially in our classroom. Thank you very much.
So our last question is the takeaways from your group about classroom management instructions. And I think you said you have one slide, great.
So before going to takeaways, we need to conclude that teachers need confidence in teaching English using English as classroom instruction. So English, in this way, is a specialized language. So we're talking about ESP. We're not talking about English in general, as Donald said. So this one is ESP, and it needs to be taught in the classroom. I mean, in teacher education classes, in English teacher education classes, it is a must, I think. And then teachers need confidence in managing English classroom through using the good instructions and then variety of instructions. And teachers need time to develop classroom routines, indeed.
This is the recommendations from our studies. Teacher professional development should be created to provide the teacher with the skills, with the knowledge, to be able to manage their classroom effectively. So we think that ELTT program is one of an excellent examples of this teacher professional development program. So, Alhamdulillah, what we did, our research now dealing with the ELTT program in 2022. Now, we are running ELTT program 2023, but we request for the RELO, US Embassy, to give us more opportunity to do the research dealing with the ELTT program 2023. Yeah, so we need to see the impact also on the quality of teacher English teaching in madrasah and pesantren. So I think this is our special request, and then we would like to deliver our special thanks for RELO, US Embassy, and World Learning, and especially to our research team, and then led by Donald and AC and Marta. So we learned a lot related to how to do our research, starting from how to formulate research question. So something surprising from the Donald explanations at the beginning of our program, research question is we do not need to answer our research question. Is that right, what you said at the beginning? So in my mind before, so research question need to be answered. So if we as the researcher do not answer our research question, our research is not successful before. But now I changed my mind because of you, Donald.
My fault.
Yeah, so that's why we request for the RELO to give us opportunity to do the next research dealing with ELTT 2023. Okay, thank you.
Can I just clarify so people don't leave? It's exactly what I said, but what I said is that a research question is like a direction on a compass. When you go north, you don't get to north, you go in that direction. It's the same thing with a research question. You go in the direction that it points you, but you don't necessarily get there. That's not the...
Yes, yeah, something interesting in our research. We change our research questions again and again. And before we presenting our our research today, we changed our research question to adjust that with the finding, with the data that we got from our interview, for example, teacher reflected notes. So we can change our research questions. So that is the new thing for me, especially for me.
Yeah, so I think the important idea that the network really grappled with is there's a distinction or a difference between your inquiry and the way you ask questions about that inquiry. And so you all have a common inquiry, which has to do with this aspect of managing instruction, creating opportunities to learn, routines, how questions, checking, understanding fit all together. There are a lot of questions you could ask about that inquiry, and your data took you into it, and then you explored it. It's almost like holding a piece of glass or a jewel and seeing it from different points of view. But it's the same inquiry. It's just the questions get at different dimensions of it, and that's what I think your work shows so wonderfully. So, thank you.
We have about 9 minutes for questions from the audience. And if not, I have a question, so maybe I can start. Yeah. So thank you all for your presentations. That was wonderful. And I think about all the tools and the practices that ELTT helps teachers learn. But I really appreciated that it takes time to build routines, that when you implement them in a context, sometimes you have to realize things about your classroom or your school. And I just wanted, what would you say to support teachers once they have done the program in building those routines, in adjusting and adapting them for their classroom contexts and things like that?
Can I go first? I think one thing that comes into mind is creating a community of practice. So we need to still get together with the teachers as we have been doing with all the master's trainers. And so we need to, because this program have undergone the batch 1, the first batch, and then what is still running is the second batch. It is, it will be, I think it will be very, very beneficial if we think of creating community of practice for all the teachers who have finished the first batch ELTT program, and then also think about the second batch participants. Because if we do not do so, I think we're wasting the time and energy and money we have planted in this beautiful program.
My plan related to classroom instruction is I would like to do a community service to introduce how the teacher plan and provide good instruction in the classroom. So I will introduce the stages to the teacher who still do not get the opportunity with this program. Especially in Kalimantan, we don't have many chance to get the to have the conference, to have the what I mean is like the training like this. So and because it is very far from the city, and in Banjarmasin itself, I know the teacher can adapt the technology very well. They can do a lot of things to improve their professional development. However, the other city, the other region cannot do it. So I think I will involve my college, the trainers also, to go far from the city to introduce this kinds of activity to other teachers in my area.
Diana, I'll give you a second, but so what I'm hearing so far is the network, which some of your colleagues said earlier today, is automatically a part of the teacher training through all the different cohorts, and then encouraging other teachers as well. Is that correct across the two? Yeah. Dion, did you want to add anything?
Yes, I encourage the teachers to implement what they got from ELTT program. But remember, they have different, different context, different settings, different conditions. That's why I asked them to make some adjustment, adaptation, in order to make it successful in implementing what they got from ELTT program in their own context. That's like that.
I think that's a really important point that has been a thread throughout the day about what does it mean to adapt and adjust. And I think one of the things that all of your research has pointed to is often when we work in teacher professional development, we say, here's something you need to do as a teacher. Here's a new thing you need to do. Here's a new way you need to act. And what I've heard in your work and in other work around ELTT is that what happens when you change it from here's something you do to here's something you can use. When you say you can use it, it means that then you're going to use it the way you need to use it. And using it is adapting it. Doing it is not necessarily adapting it, right? You have a right way to do it, and then you have a way you adapted it. Anytime you use something, if I use something, I'm adapting it to whatever my purpose is. So I think what you heard in your work about questions, for example, is how do I adapt these things? How do I use these questions in my context? Well, as Ibu Ida said at the beginning, they start with this package of kind of English, Bahasa English, and then the middle of the sandwich goes away and it stays more in English. That's using. You see what I mean? It's not just, oh, I have to do it this way, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I think there are lessons to be learned about what it, as teacher learning unfolds, we really need to understand it not as learning how to do things, but learning how to use things. And I don't know if that makes sense, but to me that's a very strong cross-cutting message here. Is that okay?
Yes. Any other questions for this panel? There's a question. Oh, a couple questions now.
It's just a quick question. It's very interesting, and all of the three research actually are things, topics which are needed by all English teachers, as long as my 43 years experience as an English educator. 43. No. Well, is it possible, in your view, is it possible to fully digitalize the part of course, it's not all the not all the training that you have done, but part of the training. Is it possible? Because now the government has got the platform for teachers to share, the PMM, Platform Merdeka Mengajar, where teachers can share, teachers or trainers or practitioners can share their experience or their best practices in the platform so that other teachers can learn. So my question, because this is going to be great if it can be spread out nationally in the program. Thank you.
That's, I mean, it's an excellent segue into the last part of what we want to do in terms of where we're going from here and what can be done. So if I could make a comment and a bridge, and then we will move to the last part of our program. I think in sharing at any level, whether it's a digital platform nationally or in a group of a research network of 12 people, you need two things. You need something to share and some way to share it. Yes. Now, in a digital platform, that gives you the platform, but what we need is then a common language or a common vocabulary, because we've often seen in sharing across teachers in a variety of contexts that don't share kind of, you understand what I mean, a common conceptual language.
Yes, yes.
They end up kind of, everything gets used the way I do it, as
Yes.
opposed to be, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So when I said that, I'm aware of the importance of contextualizing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what we've heard consistently in what the groups bring and the different levels of whether we call them communities of practice, we have research networks, we have master trainers. It's interesting, you notice each one has a name. Well, that name is not coincidental. It's because it identifies people who share this common language, if you want to think about it in that way.
Yes.
And what's interesting in the overall design of ELTT and moving forward is that people can move from one role to another within this.
Yes.
And I think that's what a digital platform allows you to do, is to play different roles as well.
Yes, yes. So this is where we are going to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes. 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 So, where's the MC? What am I supposed to say about? Sorry, I really don't know what's going on. I just do a good act. Oh, the MC is finding out what's going on. Okay. Okay. But we don't want people to leave.
No, we don't want you to leave, Ibu Bapak, of course. Lagging a little bit, that means I need snacks, and I believe you do. So let's grab snacks. Outside, we have 15-minute break. If you need to pray and if you need some snacks, it's just outside the room, and then we're gonna be back here for the discussion. Am I right?
Right. And a final kind of pulling together.
Yes.
And a surprise announcement.
And the surprise announcement, which I don't know. That's why it's a surprise. Exciting announcement. I also don't know, so let's figure it out later. Right, thank you so much. Please help yourself, Ibu Bapak. We're gonna be back here in 15 minutes. Thank you. We're coming towards the end of our conference today, and we're gonna have a quiz. Now, just kidding, right? We're gonna get to our next activity that will be led by Dr. Freeman and Anne. So over to you, Anne. I think you'll go first. Thank you.
So thank you again for all of your questions and thoughts during the presentations today. I just want to speak briefly about the word cloud that you can see on the screens. And what I really love about this closing out our panels, oh, it's also on the back of your program, thank you, is all of these words were taken from our MT's research questions and keywords that they listed. And the ones that are bigger are the ones that occurred the most often. And so at the same time that this involves every individual person's research, it also comes together to create a visual of the work of the entire MT research group, as well as the work from the network. So I think it's a wonderful way to take a look at what are the key words and key inquiries that the master trainers have worked on, and it's a good way to transition into Donald's where do we go next.
Thank you. So you all have been wonderful. You've been very patient. You have had a lot to eat, as we all have. So what we'd like to do now is to get a little bit more active and ask you to end up in a group of 3 people. And it would be very nice if it were not necessarily 3 people you knew, but one of those 3 people we would like to be an MT. So we're going to ask the MTs to get out and distribute themselves around and sit with at least 2 other people, if you would, and then I'll tell you what we're going to ask you to do. So if you could, yes, right now, get up, move around, find 2 other people to talk with, and hopefully get a person with a white shirt and a green badge on. Yeah. There we go. Good. Here's a group over here that can be a little smaller. There's a group over there that needs an MT, if we could.
If you still need an MT, raise your hand.
Yeah,
raise your hand if
your
you
group
still need an MT.
Here, I think, Arif, there's
there
some folks here. Okay. That was complicated, but we've done that. Arif, have you got a place? Have you got a, oh, here. Or there's, how about, Arif? There's way over there. No, wherever. Okay. So here's what we'd like to do to kind of pull this together. We've been really listening on 2 levels to what today has been. One level has been about this research network and this group of 12 colleagues supported by Ann Coleman and Martha and me, and the research that they've done, what we call the research network. The other has been really the core of what they've been looking at, which is how to support and strengthen the teaching of classroom English in madrasas and perantons. Excuse me. Sorry. So my question to you is, if you were to have to identify a headline or an idea, single idea, taking away from this day, what would you say ought to be the next step for the research network, and what ought to be the next step for, let's call, the ELTT work that they've focused on? So where are we going next with research? Where are we going next with ELTT? But I'm asking you to put it really into a short statement, because we're going to try to collect these. You don't all have to agree. You can have more than one. Please don't have more than 10, because that would keep us here for a long time. But seriously, so we're going to do this. We're going to talk for about maybe 7, 8, 9 minutes, and then we're going to start to collect your ideas together up here, okay? So where to go next? What would be the next step? From what you've heard, what would you think is the next step for the research network? What's the next step for the work with ELTT? Over to you. in just a minute, I'm going to bring you back, but I'm going to ask that each group have one or two headlines they want to share, one or two next steps they want to share. So if you got more than that, you might just use a couple seconds to decide what you want to put out. Soloist. Okay, so what we'd like to do is to collect up here on this Google Doc your thoughts about where to go with the research network, where to go with the work with ELTT. And so what I'd suggest we do is we let each group give us one or maybe two ideas, and we can keep going around, but rather than stay with one group too long, we get a view across everybody. The second thing is, if a group says something that's like yours, you can say, like they said, and we can mark that that's an idea for more than one group. So Ann Coleman has, AC has the microphone, so why don't we start right there? We're right behind you, and then we'll come to your group. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we have got fruitful discussion, and in terms of research, so the next avenue would be to see the impact of the training to the students. Yeah, to see the impact of the training to the students. So
wonderful.
The focus is on the students. And in terms of the ELTT, so our discussion results in the trainers' visit to school, not only to observe or, let's say, work together with the teachers, but also to motivate the students.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so research to look at the impact on students, ELTT to visit schools to see what's going on in classrooms for students and teachers as well. Great. Thank you.
This group?
Yes.
One or two. Whoever.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Please.
Thank you so much. We have three words in here. First is sustainability. Second is the sister program.
Second was which? I'm sorry?
Second is sister program.
Sister program,
sister
okay.
program.
Yeah.
And third is increasing the awareness.
Okay.
And ESB. First is sustainability. So actually our program is a very quality seed. But we are still having a seed, quality seed that are ready to grow. But if we are not keep watering our seed today, so it will not grow.
So it's very important to be mindful, conscious of growing it.
It must be sustainable. And sister program means that we talk a lot about madrasah with low quality, but actually in Indonesia, we still have lots of very perspective and promising madrasah.
Yeah.
They have been an international standardized madrasah, so we don't have to start from zero for making our madrasah qualified. So we can start from those very qualified madrasah as a sister program. So it means that we don't start from zero. So we ask collaborations with those very qualified madrasah to make the other madrasah grow very well. And that is about increasing awareness. What we talk today is something that is very marvelous, priceless, but sometimes people, especially in madrasah, they don't know what it is for. Because what they think is madrasah with the Islamic background as that spiritual basic for running the school, they think that Arabic language is the most important thing because it's closely related with their spiritual belief that learning Arabic will bring them to heaven. So they forget that learning English and make their students capable and be a good people in the world is also can make the teacher go to heaven.
To the values.
So this is a kind of increasing the awareness to all the Islamic students and especially the English teacher to make sure and to make sure that their profession as English teacher is not just what is it? It's not just temporary,
Right.
temporary teacher. They also can go to heaven with their profession as English teachers.
Thanks. So your last point is really, if I understood you, that it is not that it's an either or, you know, it's Arabic or English, but that in fact both are important and both have spiritual ramifications.
That's right,
yeah.
because madrasa teacher, they think that it's better for me to teach or learn about Arabic because I can go to heaven.
Yeah.
So for English, it's just compulsory for them. So it's
Right.
not that there's not the bridge for them to
Right.
go to heaven. But
Right.
now we have to make them aware.
Right.
We have to motivate them by making sure or give them understanding that English teacher has a big right to go to heaven.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have another group. Yes. Yes. Who's next? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm not the one who have involved in this program because
Yeah.
I'm not a madrasa or pesantren teachers.
Yeah.
So what I hope for this program is ELTT programs is conducted not only for madrasa or pesantren teachers, but also for us
Yeah.
as an English teachers in middle school or senior high school in public state or
Right.
private school. There.
Right. So, right. So to broaden the base. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, and one thing that we think that this program is good, but how we do the next is how to maintain the teachers' motivations to always apply these programs and apply in their classrooms. So when this program is stopped, it doesn't mean that you also stop applying the ILTT methods in the classroom.
Right.
To do that, we need collaborations from the school institutions, the principals, and the stakeholders, how to supervise their teachers to always apply the ILTT programs in their classrooms. So the quality of their classrooms is better. That's all. Thank
So,
you.
sorry, what's the program you're saying? You mean ELTT? This program?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So really, that goes back to the sustainability point as well. That if the practices of teaching become regularized within the school, and you say through administrators and other values, then that makes it more likely to be sustainable than if it's just something that happened within the program and now it's finished and we don't do it anymore. Yeah. Good. Okay, let's keep going. Who's next?
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
We are talking about collaborative research. That is the need for us at the moment.
Okay.
We look at five broad indicators. The first
Right.
one is input.
Yeah.
In terms of the input, how well or how good is the student?
Mhm.
How good are the students? How
Right.
good are the teachers?
Right.
How good is the facility? How good is the curriculum? That is
Right.
the input. And then we are talking about the process. How
Mhm.
can we implement ELTT
Mhm.
to our
Mhm.
groups? And then after that, we are talking about the output here,
Mhm.
output of student. After output, of course, we now talking about the outcomes.
Mhm.
How can students do after they, given kind of knowledge by
Right.
these LTT teachers?
Right.
And then after that, there is an impact. I think we need kind of a collaborative research between not only in high school level but also university level.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you had 5 terms. You had input,
process,
output, outcome, and
impact.
And
impact.
Effect. Okay. Yeah. So and then your last comment, very important, that it's that for research it's important to have collaboration between schools and universities. That in between, in the way that this research network has worked closely with teachers, that's an important aspect to carrying it forward. Yes, next group.
Hello everyone, I'm Reza. So I would like to share our new ideas. We will propose the. I am a former teacher of the first batch, and I have learned about EFT and also PK. And after joining this meeting of Impact Conference, I invited, as a teacher, initiate that teachers should have the ability to write a research.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
so we have a lot of, we can produce a lot of research, not only from the master trainers, but also from the teachers by taking one of the material from the PK and doing the classroom action research. So the impact will be very spread
Yes,
around
very widespread.
Indonesia.
Yes. Yeah.
Widespread around Indonesia.
Yeah.
And also the second one, we also thinking about the monitoring the small impact from the teacher to the school. So
Right.
the school can make a small English environment at the school, and for example, like English club or something like English program at the school. So English is not only learning in classroom,
Right,
but
right.
also in environment of the school.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So two really important ideas. One is really the possibility that this opens up for teacher research, teacher classroom research, using ideas from ELTT, but investigating what goes on with those ideas in your classroom.
So, but there is maybe some obstacle because not all the teachers are able to write the research.
Right, right.
And then I hope that Relo will provide
Right.
some
Well, and I think what you're also
some professional development
Yeah.
on research for
Right,
teachers.
Right. That's exactly right. So this is an opportunity to build on what teachers are transforming through teacher research to understand it. And then your second point is really about the way in which this is changing English in the classroom needs to be supported by changing opportunities for English in school, like English clubs or English activities. I mean, schools that have English sports teams, you know, that use English when they play, you know, soccer, football, or whatever.
Yeah, English environment at a school.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Where else are we going? Yes. Are you guys, please?
Okay.
Yes.
Right, thank you. I think everyone's already mentioned our ideas.
Okay, well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just want to add that, so most of the research is about leadership and madrasah then.
Right.
So, yeah. So what we have heard is only related with down to top, right? So for me, I think this is time for U.S. Embassy to make like special approachment to the policy maker, how these programs, talking about sustainability, how these programs getting well run, and like we have to prepare, like, you know, computer, we have software and hardware, right?
Yeah.
You're great developing the software of teachers.
Yeah.
But the hardware.
Yeah, we need the hardware to run it on.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Go
Yeah.
to school again, see the facilitation, the infrastructures. We have nothing, especially in madrasah.
Yeah.
Compare with the mainstream school, for example.
Right.
We still left behind. So
Right.
that's why when we talk about the achievement, the outcomes,
Right.
it's not about the quality of the teachers, everything.
Right.
So the holistic. So there's another, we need another policy. Well, I also a trainer in batch 2.
Right.
And I found that most of my teachers are excellent.
Yeah.
They are very great, indeed.
Yeah.
So the software is already good.
Yeah.
And Relo is already done quite
Yeah.
well in batch 1 and
Yeah.
batch 2. So, yeah, that's the only one, the one thing. And the other one about the certificate thing. Yeah. Yes. So we have a standard certificate that for all teacher who's doing this training,
Right.
will have us like legalized of certificates, not only normal certificate, but we can go around with these certificates as
so-
professional teacher.
Right.
Then we can be accepted at any kinds of institutions with
right.
this one. Yes.
So that's also, in a good way, a policy thing to make the certificate more portable, that it can go to different,
Yes, exactly.
Good.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
That's all. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you.
Do you all have the headline?
You may, we have
I
other,
can go to another group.
any other group? Yes, one more group?
Did I miss a group in the middle somewhere? I feel like I did.
Yes. Yes. So what do we have?
Well, I think there is a need to expanding, of course, but it was mentioned earlier that the expanding can be another program with non-madrasah teachers, right?
Right.
And another one, if I can add, is like I'm sure that there are a lot of good programs, but there is no perfect program. So there is a need. There is always a space to improve this program, and I hope that maybe based on the research that the master teachers have done, the reflections of the master teachers, this program can be improved, and then it can be expanded for more teachers to get this opportunity of learning and researching.
Right. So you make a really good, important point, which almost turns the research back onto the program, you know, and says, what have we learned in the research that could help improve
the program?
Yeah. Yes. Excellent. Yeah. Wonderful. Anybody else got other things before we close? Yes. Yes. We have one comment right here. AC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I am a vocational high school student from Jakarta.
Yeah.
We are very lack of content of material, especially in English for specific purposes.
Yeah.
Because our need to develop our student is to get their ability or knowledge or competency in English based on their competency.
Yeah.
Because we have 150 competency of vocational, and we need the content of material about these specific purposes in English.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, it is very lack. The English book published in Indonesia here, there are, it is very limited for the vocational high school student.
So the connection you're making, which is really important, is in the same way that English for teaching is specialized language for teachers, we need to take that into vocational training. Because I think the success we see with teachers having language that focuses on their work, you would see in vocational students. If this is language that helps me do my job, it's a very different kind of language to learn than just general English about going to London or New York or whatever it's about.
And then we have the same curriculum from general school to the vocational school. It is very...
It needs, So that's an interesting implication of this work, that the power of working with language for specific purposes, and not just at an advanced level, as you say. No, at secondary school level is fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
Okay. Well, I think I don't want to cut anybody off.
I think we're good.
Okay. So I want to thank you. Lois, do you have anything, or you think we're good? Can I move on to? Okay. So in closing then, I just wanted to, well, first thank you all. It's been really a wonderful day, and yesterday working with the network was just great. And it's very important work that's going on here. And as I was saying to a colleague here, you know, 5 years ago, we wouldn't have streamed this. It would have just been people in the room that would have heard what was going on. And it kind of would have been their little secret. But I feel like even today we see the benefit of how things have evolved through the last difficult years of pandemic life and so on. And one of them is to make something like this so much more readily accessible to people. So I wanted to just kind of close by pulling together kind of 3 themes that I heard in the research and that I think were picked up in your comments in kind of where we go from here. The first theme is really, you could say, the relationship and, well, the connection and the disconnection, let's call it that, between what's going on in the classroom, what's going on in the school and what's going on in the broader education system. And I think one of the things that is true about the way we think about education is we tend to think that those levels have to always work together if they're going to be successful, and when they don't work together well, then things are not successful. I'm not going to argue with that idea one way or the other, but I am going to say that I think what we've heard today is that it isn't as simple as just purely bottom-up or purely top-down, that you have a lot of side-to-side stuff going on. So in the first panel, we heard about 3 researchers looking at really how working with English in the context of madrasas and was really able to not create a conflict with Islamic values, but connect with and in some senses support the work that is going on in those schools. So there's an example of where 2 things meet in the middle rather than one contradicting the other. We then also heard on another level about how when you change something in the classroom, it has impacts outside the classroom. The wonderful comment in the last panel about from teachers reporting, well, I'm trying to do more games, but I'm making too much noise. And so I can't do that. And it reminded me of my first principal when I was a high school teacher, when I started out as a high school teacher and I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of noise in my classroom. My principal used to supervise by turning on the announcement system so he could listen into my classroom. He never came and saw me teach. So he would say to me, your class is too loud. He had no idea what was going on to make the classroom loud. And what was going on, as you said, was kids were engaged and they were doing things. So what we see in that is, again, it's not just that change is going to be making louder classrooms is going to make schools more flexible, or schools need to be more flexible to let classrooms be louder. But it's how those 2 levels play with each other and interact with each other. So that's the first theme I've heard, is that we need to kind of get out of the box of thinking it's all top down or all bottom up, but there's a lot of this kind of lateral influence that happens. The second one of 3 is really the idea that we heard in both the second panel before lunch and the third panel, the one just after lunch. The idea that really as you start to act in a different way, you become a different person. And so we heard about this with teachers with corrective feedback, for example, and that as the teachers began to simply use different language in correcting students, different things started to happen in the classroom. And as those different things started to happen, the teacher felt that they themselves were acting differently, which they were doing. So again, it's not a linear, I do this, they do that, but this dance, this interaction between what students do and what teachers do, which is why the priority of bringing students into the research equation is so important. We heard the same thing in the panel just after lunch about agency, and really about how as the teachers were working in the program and through the self-access and self-paced nature of the online component combined with the blended component, that really created this sense of greater efficacy and greater agency in individuals. Second theme. The third theme, I was really reminded, I grew up in Massachusetts, in Boston, and there was a very famous politician who was represented Boston in the House of Representatives in Washington, and he was an Irish-American politician named Albert Tip O'Neill. And he was, I don't know if he ever said this, but everybody said he said this, which was, he used to say, all politics are local. And I'm reminded from the work that we've heard today that really, at the end of it all teaching is local and all research is local. And I think we get too caught up in teaching having to be national or global. In other words, it have to be operating in the same way in many, many circumstances. And what we heard is that actually Adaptation is using ideas in the ways that they work locally. Similarly, we heard from researchers in our network talking about profoundly local work, but the implications of that local work is much broader than simply those communities and schools and teachers that they studied and that they collaborated with. So the word that I would leave you with in that third theme is a word that brings together, it's a portmanteau word, it brings together the global and the local, to say that I think in both the research and in ELTTeach, we're really working with an idea of glocalness, of global localness. And that's an empowering idea for teachers because they're at the center of localness. And it's also a strengthening idea for schools, that they're getting better not in an effort to be like another school, but to strengthen the localness as part of the globalness. So I think the third theme about glocalness, and if we can use that word, is a really important takeaway because it really is part of, I think, where globally we are going. We recognize that what we do as individuals has profound impact on many other people, many that we don't even know or can't even see. So really, all action is local, all politics are local, research is local, and teaching is local. So those are my three themes about top-down, bottom-up, and moving sideways, about the fact that really as you change what you do, you also change who you are, and then finally that it's all global, if we want to say that. So thank you very much, and I want to turn the microphone over to my friend and colleague, Michael Cahill, to have the last word, or the second to last word.
Thank you, Donald. I want to start today by first saying good afternoon. And I want to make some thank yous. First, I want to thank the U.S. Embassy and the Regional English Language Office for making this event possible and making all the research possible that made this happen. Without the support of Rick and his office, this would not have happened. So special thank you to the U.S. Embassy and the Regional English Language Office. Secondly, I want to thank the Ministry of Religious Affairs for their leadership and their access to the teachers, to the schools, to the students that informed the research that was shared today. I also want to thank World Learning, especially AC and Lois and Marta, who's not here today, for their work to implement this program, their untiring work to implement this program. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the master trainers who shared their research today. I want to thank the teachers and the participants who allowed us to share their stories through the master trainers today. Thank you very much. And I want to thank all the attendees who came here to hear what is happening today, and all those online who are also listening. Lastly, I'd like to thank someone I've known for over 20 years, whom I've worked with on projects similar to this one in Korea, in Japan, in Vietnam, and other places. Of course, our very own Mr. Donald Freeman. Thank you, Donald. As a representative of National Geographic Learning, I want to share a little bit about who we are and why we're here. National Geographic Learning is a mission-based organization. Our mission is to bring the world to all classrooms and to bring all classrooms to life. Our mission is based on beliefs. Number one, we believe the world is an amazing place, filled with real people, real places, and real stories. And we have heard those real stories today. At National Geographic Learning, we believe that English belongs to all peoples of the world. Not the British, not the Americans, but to Indonesians. And we believe that Indonesian speakers of English should be proud Indonesians. At National Geographic Learning, we believe that English should empower speakers to share their stories, to share their values from their communities, from their cultures, and from their country. And today we have heard some very powerful stories informed by research from Indonesia by Indonesians. Therefore, today, I'm very happy to announce that we at National Geographic Learning will sponsor the publication of key findings from this research we hope to make this research easily accessible to people across Indonesia, in the ASEAN community, and indeed across the world. Finally, in partnership with educators like you, our mission is to bring the world to Indonesia, but more importantly, we have the opportunity to take Indonesia to the world. Thank you very much, and I believe I'm going to hand this over to our MC, is that correct?
Thank you so much, Michael Cahill, for the exciting announcement as the Senior Director of Asia for National Geographic Learning. Are you happy, Ibu Bapak MTs? Yes, right. So, Ibu Bapak, as we started our day today, we walk into this room with the different hats as teachers, as lecturers, as vocational teachers or instructors, as program coordinators, bringing a diverse and very rich background. And it's so interesting that the research presented today and the ELTT as a program in itself can actually be replicated, expanded, tweaked, and adjusted to different contexts depending on where we teach or where we lead. We have so many rooms for improvement, especially in the context of English instruction in madrasah and pesantren, but I hope upon the completion of the Impact Conference for the English Language Teacher Training Program today, you're feeling more hopeful than ever. Thank you so much, Ibu Bapak, for coming today. Thank you for Ibu Bapak Master Trainers. Thank you for Dr. Donald Freeman, Louis Scott Conley, Bapak Rick Rosenberg, Michael Cahill, and all our VIP guests. You are all the VIP guests. We have one more surprising now. We have one more exciting, I know. We have one more exciting activity for you. That is the networking early dinner. Not the dinner yet, it's an early dinner, so more foods after this. We're still working on the setup of the dinner, but most of the foods are ready, so let's get going. So please network with your colleagues. And one last thing about the ELTT link. So I believe you want to explore about the ELTT. I think right after, no, not right. I don't want to give pressure to Ibu Dian, I'm so sorry. After this conference, Ibu Dian and I will work together to send out the link to you so you can explore the ELTT platform, just in case perhaps you're interested in working with Michael Hill perhaps, or to explore the National Geographic app on your own. Thank you so much, Ibu Bapak. Enjoy yourself. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's amazing to see you and work with you today. Bye-bye.